Do I have a new mic? Is this new for me?
No.
No?
No.
I'm always loud. Okay. I became a nuclear engineer.
I'm a sanitation engineer.
Oh, great. I'm glad we're all full of it today. Good Shabbos, everyone. Now is a wonderful opportunity just to look around. Whoa, be careful when you swing that talus.
I'm a swinger.
Oh, stop. For all those watching online, Marlene Rose is being inappropriate, but there's nothing new under the sun now, is there? Wisest. Now is a wonderful time just to look around and wish everyone Shabbat Shalom. It is so good to see you all here. It is so good not to feel the rain on my skin this week, to feel the sunshine instead. I just want to say thank you to Archie and his family for stepping in at the last minute and fulfilling and for helping us with our Shabbatini. And I also just want to say thank you all just simply for being here. Earlier today, I know it is not often that I mention, but today we paid tribute and we paid a memorial service to Marilyn Adani, who was a friend to many here who sit in our congregation, including our Cantor. And as I reflect on it, I think about Shabbat, that there's so much we're in control of. And yet, without a doubt, Shabbat arrives each and every week, like waves upon the shore, whether we want it to or not. Whether we are ready for Shabbat or in the mood for it, Shabbat appears on our doorstep. And we, as good hosts, welcomers, amical beings, we welcome Shabbat. We welcome God into our midst. We welcome God into our sanctuary. We welcome new friends among us to celebrate and to be in rhythm in accordance with God. And while it is difficult, as they say, I don't know who says it, but Shabbat must go on. No one says that. I don't know. They say that. In the Hollywood, on the Broadway of Shabbat, the Broadwalk. I just want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you for being an amazing community. And thank you for everyone helping to put the pieces of us together, including Richie. Thank you, Richie. I know Sharon's going to say something at the end because she always says, thank you, Richie. But thank you, Richie, for bringing us music. Thank you for bringing a little soul, a little ruach in here, Yeah? All right. Manny?
Yep.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's push on the gas.
Okay, Laman Achai. All right, this is one of our favorite niguns. Everyone can join in. La la da 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 da. La la da 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 da. La la da 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 da. La la da. I want to come on, everybody, come on. Here you go. La la da 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 da. La la da 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 da. La 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 because of my brothers and friends, because of my sisters and friends. Please let me ask, please let me say, peace to you. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 Okay. We're going to page 129, everybody. We're going to do one song for Kabbalat Shabbat, two songs up from the bottom. Ki Yeshmera Shabbat. When I keep Shabbat, God watches over me. It is a sign forever between God and me.
We even have it written in a window right here. Even as Israel has kept the Sabbath, so Shabbat has kept the people of Israel. How much we love this place. And Shabbat.
Ki Yeshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Ki Yeshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Oti leomead beino ubeini. Oti leomead beino ubeini. Ki Yeshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Ki Yeshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Oti leol meyad beino veini. Oti leol meyad beino veini.
To light our candles all the way in the back, Jeannie and Betty, would you be as so kind to come up and help us? I would have called you Dodi, but I was told you were off the charts. You were on the injured list this evening. I'm not going to put you in to start. That was a sports reference. I don't know much about sports.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'halikner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. All right, tonight we're going to do Shabbat service, evening service number 2, page 263. We turn
Numero
to page
dos.
263 for the Kaddish. Yitkadav, Yitkadav, Shemei Rabba. Yamad Ibra, Kerete, Yamlik Malkute, Vekaye Konu, Yomecho, Ukaye Deko,
Beit Yisrael.
Abba Mevorach, Le'olam Olam Me'omaya,
Yitbarach,
Yitbarach,
Vishtabach,
Yitbahar, Yitromam, Yitnaseh, V'yitadar, Yitalem, Yitalam, Shemei Dekudeshah,
Rechu,
Le'ela min kol berchata, V'shirata, Tushbechata, V'nechemata, Damiran B'yama V'yimru,
Amen. Page 264, we rise and we remain standing until the Shema on 267 as we face towards the ark.
Lai la lai la 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 lai la 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 lai la lai la 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 lai la 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 lai la 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 Adonai HaMevorach. Ariku et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Page 267 is where you can find our Shema prayer.
Shem kevod malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated. Tonight is a condensed service, just like the milk. Page 271 is where you can find me at the bottom of the page. In the English, if you would be so kind as to join with me in the English. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. With you are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai hapurei sukkot shalom aleinu v'alakol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim v'shamru This is just for Rudy. If you're not Rudy, the song is not for you. I'm kidding. It's for everyone. It's for the Jewish people. But especially for Rudy. Oh, and Stanley. Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
ביני ובני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם,
forever,
אותי לעולם,
never, 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 never.
ושמרו בני ישראל Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני
God created
את השמיים
the heavens above,
ואת הארץ,
the dirt below.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי
On the seventh day,
שבת וינפש,
God kind of crashed.
שבת וינפש,
It's a lot of work creating a world.
שבת וינפש.
A good nap goes a long way.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
It's 274. We rise for our Amidah, the standing prayer, as we turn and face our ark.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rakel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ekonei HaKol V'zoker kasdei avot v'imahot U'mevi geula livnei v'neihem Lema'an shemo v'yahava Melech ozer u'moshiach u'magin Baruch atah Adonai Magin Abraham V'ezrat Sarah Atah gibor le'olam Adonai Mekayim etim Atah Rav le'hoshia Mashiv haruach morid hagashem Mekakel chayim bechesed Mekayim eitim berakamim rabim Zomek noflim berofech olim Umatir asurim Umekayim emunato Ishenei ahafat Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umidom Elach Melech Meimit Umekayeh Umatzliach Yeshua V'ne'eman atal hakayot Meitim Baruch atah Adonai Mekayeh HaMeitim. You are holy, your name is holy. And those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated. Our prayer for healing tonight can be found on page 371. Tonight we think of Howard Marmerstein. Did I say that right? Marmerstein?
Marmerstein.
Marmerstein.
I don't know, either way.
Steen or Stein?
Stein, he's from Philadelphia. Stein.
I wish Jews would just pick one.
If you're
Is
from
it
Philadelphia,
Stein or
it's
Steen?
If you're from Philadelphia, it's Stein.
You can't say that. That's not true.
I can say that. I grew up there. I know.
No, it's not necessarily just a blanket statement.
But it's a true statement.
But it's not a true statement.
I grew up in Philadelphia. Who would know better than me?
So is it Levy or Levy in Philadelphia?
I'm telling you Stein.
Okay, but Levy or Levy?
Do what you want.
Okay.
I'm telling you it's Goldstein, it's Marmerstein, that's it.
Okay. Everyone in Philadelphia, if you were previously Steen, now you're Stein.
That's
Welcome.
the way it is.
That's the way it is.
And it's Levine, and it's Shapiro. It is.
Are there any other commandments that you'd like to hand down from God tonight?
I'm just telling you the way it is in Philadelphia.
That's just the way it is. And George Borhage. Are there others who have different names that are not from Philadelphia, or maybe they may be so, that are in need of our healing, our thoughts, and our prayers this evening? Anyone? Yes. Okay. Marlene? Harry Plant. Yes, sir. Okay. Betty? Yes, in the back. Yep. Ginger, anyone? Okay. We're coming down the line. Oh, we missed one. Marvin. Stewart. Oh, okay. Stewart. Yes, ma'am. Esther Chaten.
And Les Levine. Les Levine.
Les Levine.
But he's not from Philadelphia. But they say Levine. He's from Chicago.
There are rules to the madness, everyone.
All right, page 371, everybody. Let's all sing. Mi shevera avotenu mikor abracha limotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shepera imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
I just wanted to say on page 377 we turn to our prayer for the state of Israel, and I just want to say thank you for all of those who went to the Nova exhibit with us. As someone who was of the age of one of the attendees, and was actually just at the dog park the other day talking to I don't know. Whenever people speak in Hebrew, I start to butt in. I'm like, oh, hi, manishma. And they're like, oh, another Jew. And so we strike up a conversation. And then inevitably, at some point, I say what I do and we get into it. But I was thinking just this past week, as we were walking through the exhibit, and as someone who has been through many Holocaust memorial exhibits, it felt like I had been transported into the now. So often when I walk through Holocaust exhibits, we see pictures from the 30s, the 40s, and we think, oh my goodness, all in black and white. But this one was in full, vivid color. So clear. And as I listened to the music and I thought about my time in Israel, I thought, I probably could have been there. I could have been at that concert. In fact, The girl I was talking to at the dog park, her friends were at the concert. Everyone in Israel knows someone who is there. And how it is in 2025 as we now sit, that we think, we ponder, and we cherish the state of Israel for all that it is, and for the young people, the 18, the 19, the 20-year-olds, those in their 20s defending their country. We don't get enlisted here in the United States, not anymore. But in Israel, every single individual graduates from high school and defends their country. And for that, I am always so incredibly grateful. Because Israel is not only just a nation of Jews, it is a Jewish nation. It is our place. It is our home. I love Hollywood, Florida, but Israel will always be our homeland. We turn now to page 377 as we sing Avinu Shebashamayim.
Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Barek, Barek, et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smikat Geulatenu, Hagen Alea Bevrat Chazdecha, Ufros Alea Sukat Shalomecha. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Ushalach orcha b'mitcha l'rashea tzarea v'yotzea v'yotzea v'taknem b'etza tova milfanecha v'taknem b'etza tova milfanecha. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. V'natata shalom, shalom ba'aretz, v'simkat olam liyoshveya. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. V'nomar, v'nomar, Amen.
Thank you, everyone. Bob, I'm looking at you. You could sit there all you want, but you're still coming on this bima. I can drag you up here. You can come on your own.
Shabbat Shalom. It's been over 20 scholars that we've worked our way through.
Bob, move the mic down. Yeah.
It's been over 20 scholars that we've worked our way through. And I'm sure that we're listening to Pirkei Avot that says, learning gives life to the soul. Well, I'm not sure that Pirkei Avot knows what a Shabbatini is. Because you're voting with your feet, and I'd like to think that it's giving life to our soul. In May of 1948, when Israel was established as a state, people lived in towns and villages. Some were focused as a community with a specific way of life. The kibbutz and the moshav became well known. For nearly 20 years, Israelis lived in that communal way. But in 1967, a new kid came to the block. Settlement came to play. They came to the West Bank, they came to Gaza, they came to Golan, and historians have really preferred not to discuss settlements, as they found everyone that they spoke to had a strong opinion, either positive or negative, and became enraged if you didn't agree with their assessment. Well, there's a difference between editorial presenting and just plain reporting. Remember Rabbi Capers Funny, who was here? He reported on the Jews of Uganda, telling us facts, stating what he had to say, made his point, and left the bima. Rabbi Herman Schalman, if you remember him, spoke on the rabbinic view of the Shoah, citing fact and opinion supported by fact. I don't know where this is going to go tonight. I really don't. But we don't shoot the messenger. Res ipsa loquitur. Those Latin-speaking people know what we say. We don't shoot the messenger. There will be no questions. You will have it at the bima for our scholar, who is Dr. Robert Rabbi, a professor of Middle East Studies at FAU, a master's degree from Harvard, a doctorate from Brandeis, and a lifelong learning professor of current events at FAU. He's not a gator. He's not a knoll. He's not a hurricane. He's an owl. Rabbi Rabin. Dr. Rabin. You're on.
Thank you. What a guy, Robert Goldberg, really. You know, I am so glad that I met him. And I really thank you for inviting me here this evening. This is, as a matter of fact, the second time that I come and I speak before of you in this beautiful hall. So when Robert really told me to speak about the settlement, I told him, okay, it was kind of why settlement. But then, after thinking about it, I said, okay, we are going to give you a talk. And he said about the genesis of settlement. So I have half an hour, and it's going to be a compressed talk. So please bear with me. when we think about the settlement, really, and me as a non-Jew who is really a student of Judaism, I am not an expert on Judaism, but a student of Judaism and Israeli studies, really, I think really, settlement somehow, they have historic, emotional value in the Jewish collective consciousness. And what I mean by that, if you go back in history to the tradition of the Jews, didn't God instruct Abraham to go to the promised land and settle there? And he told him, listen, I'm going to bless you and bless all who bless you. And didn't he say to him, those who curse you, I'm going to curse them? And didn't also God tell Moses to take the Israelite to the promised land? So mainly when it comes to settlement for a non-Jew, settlement for me is to settle that promised land. But then what happened is that the Jews really established a great dynasty, a monotheistic dynasty. And after that, they had some unfortunate events. The first unfortunate events, when I go back, I think about Nebuchadnezzar, a new Babylonian leader. He invaded Jerusalem, destroyed the Jewish temple. This marked the first destruction of the Jewish temple. And he took Jews captive to Babylon, really one of the oldest Jewish diaspora community in the world. And then after that, Alexander the Great defeated the Persian at the Battle of Persepolis in 300 BCE. And then his generals ruled the Middle East, including, General Ptolemy in Egypt and General Seleucid in Syria and Israel and Lebanon. But then what happened is that you have a conflict, really a clash of culture, clash of religion, clash of outlook. The Greeks were pagans, and really you have conflict, and those conflicts very much became bigger with the Romans. Really, the Jews as monotheistic, one God, and the Romans had a pantheon of gods. So what happened is that the Jews destroyed the temple in 70 CE, and that marked the second destruction of the Jewish temple. And then you had the Bar Kokhba revolt. The Bar Kokhba revolt, this is when the Romans suppressed the revolt and expelled the Jews. And here, this is something very important to say. Not all Jews, as some people say, left. No, you had Jews that remained in Jerusalem, in Safed, including in Hebron, as a matter of fact. So here now, and after that, you had a period, and a long period, where you had anti-Judaism and anti-Semitism. Mainly the Jews suffered, really suffered. And me, when I mention it, I always say, to my student, as a matter of fact, here is the nation that was mistreated the most and gave so much to the world. Anyway, what happened after that, you had enlightenment, the Renaissance and enlightenment, and this is where the Jews really felt that a new era has been ushered in Europe. And what happened is that you had the Mashkilim, or the enlightened Jews, that are calling their people, listen, we have to join this era. But something happened. Something happened where in Tsarist Russia. You had a pogrom there, and to that Mashkilim, Pinsker was very much shocked. Why he was shocked? Because the pogroms that took place, you had many people involved in it. Not only the hoodlums, they were involved in it. Many people. So he said, what kind of a new era we have? And he wrote a seminal article by the name of Anti-Emancipation. And why I mention that? Because he told the Jews, listen, don't wait for anybody to emancipate you. You have to work to emancipate yourself. Then Herzl came. Herzl, he was covering the Dreyfus affair in Paris. In Paris, the heart, as a matter of fact, or the capital city of enlightenment, and he was shocked by that anti-Semitism is living and kicking in the heart of enlightenment city. And he wrote, a seminal book, The Jewish State. The Jewish State, and he chose two countries, and Palestine was one of them. And then in 1897, you had the Basel Conference, where the Zionists, mainly they met and they decided on Palestine or Israel as the future homeland of the Jewish people. And they worked. 1917, they had the Balfour Declaration. First declaration in so many centuries, where now you have a big power saying, yes, you have a legal right to go into Palestine. Now, why I mention that, also at the time, if you consider even before the issuance of the Balfour Declaration, you have the Fourth Aliyah, and this happened between 1881 and 1903. This is when some pioneer went to Palestine. Palestine at the time was under the Ottoman Empire, and established a settlement. And really they faced a lot of problems. You have harsh circumstances, malaria, attacked by the Bedouins. So they did one settlement by the name of Degania. Mainly you can trace it to the word grain. Then you have the second Aliyah and third Aliyah. This is where you have now really the kibbutz started to take shape, And many, as a matter of fact, they contribute, they give the kibbutz really a special status in that it defined to a great extent, the character of Israel. The kibbutz, as a matter of fact, probably you know more than I, it means the gathering or the regrouping, and they stayed there, they worked there. You had an equality of gender, joint production. So mainly from my perspective, really it was a mix of Zionism being a Jewish self-determination and Jewish nationalism, and some form of socialism. And by the way, Ben-Gurion, when he went there, as a matter of fact, really he worked as a laborer in an agricultural settlement called Petah Tikva, if I'm not mistaken. And then, as a matter of fact, when he retired in the Negev in Sder Poker, if I am not mistaken. So this is where the kibbutz come in. And the kibbutz, as a matter of fact, with our Aliyah, under the British mandate, really became very active in society. Now, under the British mandate, what happened? Really what happened at one time, you have 1946 and 1947. 1936, this is when you have the Arab Revolt. And the Arab Revolt really, the British sent a commission headed by Peel, Lord Peel. And really the commission was the recommendation to partition Palestine into a Muslim, into an Arab place and a Jewish homeland. The Arab rejected. Then you have a lot of problems after that. You had the war and many people were killed. Awful, awful time. The British did the white paper. I'm not going to go there. But then in 1947, something extremely important took place. 1947, another fact-finding commission led by the United Nations went there. And again, it recommended the partition of Palestine into a Jewish homeland and an Arab homeland. Again, the Arab rejected. And what you have after that, you have what we call the first stage of what Israel called the Liberation War. Now, what happened at that? Many volunteers went from Arab lands and they want to fight the Israeli state or the Jewish community there in Palestine then. Then in 1948, when the British wanted to leave, this is when Ben-Gurion established the Jewish state. Now, the Arabs really converged and attacked from Lebanon, from Jordan, from Syria, and from Egypt. And indeed, the first couple of months were harsh, but then Israel reclaimed the initiative and defeated them. Now, what happened is that really Israel took a lot of area. The Palestinian and the Arabs were defeated. But what happened now, you have the West Bank and Gaza. The West Bank, including east of Jerusalem, came under the Jordanian, and Gaza came under the Egyptian. Now, here what happened now, and from 1948 on, and this is where, Robert spoke about the settlements. My opinion is that the settlement always, they were in the back mind of the Jews. Now, you had different plans from 1948 on. Let's not forget, from 1948 to 1967, really Israel was very much engrossed, working hard to assimilate and to welcome all the Jews that went there. And really at a certain time, it was very difficult. Did you have the kibbutz? Yes. But you have now the state really taking most of the function of the settlements. Now, here, I would say myself, yes, you have settlements, very important. But then, in 1967 came. 1967, again, it's a seminal year. Why? Because the Israelis, as a matter of fact, were able to defeat all the Arab countries. And by the way, the 1967 war, it was provoked by the Soviet when they gave false alarm to Nasser. And Nasser did something extremely bad. He kicked the United Nations from Sinai, and he closed the Strait of Tiran. The point is now Israel controlled those lands, took those lands. And what you are going to do with those lands? Let's not forget, in the 1950, Jordan had an issue mainly. Nasser supported the Palestinians to carry out sabotage activity in Israel. And let's not forget that Jordan also, some people went and carried sabotage activities in Israel as well. So here, as a matter of fact, settlement became very important. During labor, because labor stayed for a while, here you have settlement. And their settlement, they had a security dimension. And you had a plan called the Alon Plan. And the Alon Plan was mainly to settle the land around Jerusalem, and in the Jordan Valley. Extremely important. So security played a key role. Now you have more settlement there. Then, as a matter of fact, in the 1970s, this is where Likud became important. 1977, they came to power. And Sharon, as a matter of fact, played a role in, as a matter of fact, in having more settlement. For Sharon, as a matter of fact, the settlement was, let's build along the Green Line. You have the western area of Judea and Samaria. Let's have the Green Line and build along the Green Line. So he built settlement. But also now, under this time, I would say, from 1977, 1980 onward, here the settlement now became security and ideological. Mainly this is the land that was promised to us. And here there is something also, if you go back to 1967. 1967, to some Jews, as a matter of fact, religious Jews, they felt that God now is standing in favor of the Jews, and you have settlement movement at one time led by Gush Emunim, or the Block of the Faithful. So here now, Likud, started to go and build settlement. And settlement were very important. And I'll tell you why, as a matter of fact, especially in the frontier. You had attacks. After 1967, really, the Arabs, instead of conceding this defeat, they went into Khartoum and they had the three famous no. No to recognition, no to peace, and no to negotiation. So really here, and then after that, we have a battle called the Battle of the Karami battle in Jordan, where really the PLO then, they claimed victory. And my point is really, certain settlements were key to protect Israel, other than the ideological purpose where they feel really we are going to go there. Now settlement, after that, 1980s, 1990s, but something in 1990, let's not forget, in 1993 you had the Oslo Accord. But also, before that and after that, you have something called the Drawbell's Plan, mainly to let, settler or let the Jews live throughout the West Bank. And indeed, you happened this. And it went quite some time. The Oslo Accord, you have really, at first, I never believed my eyes when I saw Rabin shaking the hand of Arafat, and I was at the time a student, really at Brandeis, at Harvard, and then at Brandeis. And what happened after that, really, something really terrible that happened. Hamas, Rabin was murdered, because he gave too much concession to the Palestinians. And then Hamas carried out some terrible, terrible attacks, really. And this is what led the Israeli, as a matter of fact. You had the shift. And I saw this shift when I was doing my dissertation at the Dayan Center. Really, it was a shift, as a matter of fact. I was there in 1998 and 1999. And I really was a shift. And that shift, okay, where peace is going to take us. And again, as a matter of fact, you have certain settlements, yes, growing, especially in the West Bank. During the peace process, you have more settlements. And those settlements, as I mentioned to you, now they had more, dimension to them. They manifested themselves in being an economic settlement. You have some of the great settlements, as a matter of fact. I don't know if I want to call them settlements. You have, Bitar elite, you have Moivit elite, you have Alumin, you have the Ariel. Mainly when it comes to Ariel, because I have my friends and my colleague there, and I mainly deal with them almost on a daily basis, it's not really a settlement. I don't want to call it. It's an urban center, technology, all this. But the point is, they live there, and they are happy being there. They feel that they defend the Israel being there. Now, having said that, do you have illegal outposts? Yes, you do. Now, how many settlements you have in the West Bank? Here you have different estimates. I put it, if I want to glean from different sources, you have 132 settlements. How many people are living in the West Bank? 450,000. How many people living in Gaza? They left. As a matter of fact, Sharon, Mr. Settlement himself, decided to leave. And here I want to take you and tell you one thing. Mainly based on a very good colleague of mine. He was the chair of the Middle East Department in Ariel. And he told me, Robert, one of the settlements that we shouldn't have left was the settlement of Rafah. The settlement of Rafah was so crucial for our policy and our security. And as a matter of fact, I wish we never left. And from his position now, really, and this is his opinion, of course, he said, listen, I don't know what's going to happen. Probably we are going to be pressured to withdraw from there. But I hope we'll keep Rafah, because Rafah was too key for our security. Now we'll move forward, and let me give you some pointers, how the international community perceive the settlement, how the Arab perceives the settlement, how the United Nations perceives the settlement, how others. As a matter of fact, the United Nations, broadly speaking, especially after the resolution 242, they believe that settlements are illegal. This is it. And mainly the United Nations, they refer to resolution 242 and 338, mainly that Israel should withdraw from the occupied territory, and they give Israel certain room to protect its security, especially when it comes to the land, on the eve of 1967. Now, more so, as a matter of fact, how does the United States perceive the settlement? The United States, until Trump, they said, listen, yes, settlements are inconsistent with international law. And we have issues, as a matter of fact, with Bush and, as a matter of fact, Shamir. And you have issues with them. Trump took a different way. He reversed that and he said, listen, settlement not necessarily are not inconsistent with international law. Sadly, what happened recently, as a matter of fact, in July 2024, this is when the ICJ, the International Criminal Court of Justice, mainly it reaffirmed that it was an advisory, of course, and it reaffirmed that the settlements are illegal. The Israeli have to withdraw, have to evacuate, and cease settlements. And, of course, United Nations, again, I forgot to say it, just to put it for the record because it's out there, that the settlement, somehow they go and they are against the force, convention treaty, which mainly says that an occupying power cannot go and transfer people to occupied land. This is how the international community is. This is how United States. The Arab, of course, the Palestinians, they feel, it's their land, it was taken away. Now, what about the Israelis? And here, based on my humble experience and study, really, as I mentioned, I am a student, and I always be student when it comes to Israel and Judaism. I can say myself expert on other level and other field, but not in that. Really, you have different opinions, from my colleagues at FAU, from my colleagues at Brandeis, from my colleagues, and you have ones that I really like and admire. Sam, Sam, thank you for being here. He's really so active, and I like him from the bottom of my heart, other than Robert. Now, the point is, you have some that perceive that settlement are obstacle to peace. You have some that perceive obstacle, no, they are necessary to the state of Israel. There are some who perceive, no, they are on ideological ground. This is our promised land. We have to stay there. So mainly you have different points about settlements, really different points. I myself think, this is what I think myself, and don't take what I say as truism. I really believe certain settlements are important, given I am a student of Zionism and Israel. I really think they played a key role in helping establish Israel, and helping, secure Israel. Now, are they all, are they going to be an obstacle to peace? Listen, you have to be very careful here. And I'll mention to you two cases in mind. And this is what I say, yes, in part, they could merely be an obstacle, but they would not be to impede the peace, merely an obstacle that can be removed to have peace. And here I will give you two examples. The first example, when Barak came in 2000 and offered, as a matter of fact, a good deal. 97% of the West Bank, West Bank and Gaza, all of them, and the 2 to 3%, he said, listen, if I have settlement there, I will compensate for that inland from Israel. And also he said, listen, we are going to share Jerusalem. The Palestinians rejected. And here, this is the question I say to myself, why? Really why? You rejected the partition of 1936, the partition of 1947, and now you have a good plan, really. And then you had Ehud, the Olmer, the second prime minister, again, similar plan. Listen, let me give you the West Bank and Gaza. Already, Gaza was with them. 2005, the Israeli withdrew. And then again, the answer was in the negative. And the point is here, when I ask myself settlement, yes, I'm not going to say, all settlement should be there, all settlement, or settlement are obstacle to peace. No, they are an issue in that peace process. But they are not going to be, the real reason why the Palestinians, really, they are not going to make peace with Israel. Now, what Netanyahu is planning to do, Netanyahu, as a matter of fact, here, if you look at the recent past, you have certain events not only happening in the West Bank, and Israel now is there to take care of certain people there, but also you have certain attack from Jordan. Now, Netanyahu believed that, he should build more settlement along the Jordan Valley. And this is something I think the Israelis will decide. The Israeli will decide. Now, Trump and the administration, when I look forward, Trump, as a matter of fact, he is going to be pro-Israel. He is a pro-Israel. The ambassador, U.S. ambassador to Israel is, of course, pro-Israel and pro-settlement. And this is what I think myself we are going, if I want to look into a little bit in the future. From United States perspective, I think Trump won't pressure Israel, but I think he will pressure Israel if he's going to feel that he's going to have a deal with the Saudis. If you're going to have a deal with Saudi, he's going to pressure the Israelis and the Saudi. And settlement, as a matter of fact, is going to be an issue there, which I think that it can be resolved. It was before, it could have been resolved, and I think it will be resolved. Now, I go to the Israeli and the Palestinian, and after October 7, I really think that it's difficult now to have peace. I really think that now it's time of separation. Now it's time to go and think what's going to happen next. I think Israel really suffered, but also along the suffering and after that suffering, Israel did extremely well. Now, when I speak about Syria, when I speak about Lebanon, when I speak about Iraq, when I speak about Iran, I don't speak as a student. I speak very confident. I know it. I know Syria and Lebanon. I know them like the palm of my hand. And I think that Israel did a great job. And let me tell you this, also deviate a little bit from settlement. Where many people, when Ahmad al-Shara, went and in 8 days took over Damascus, and when Hezbollah was really, the Lebanese people were relieved from Hezbollah. And I put it out in more than one venue. I said, you should thank one country, that is Israel. If it wasn't for Israel, you will have a criminal regime in Damascus, and it wasn't for Israel, you have a terrible, terrible, terrible state in Lebanon. A state within a state, and only they are criminal and bastard all along. Now, today, what's going to happen, really, and as I mentioned to you, I think that the peace process somehow is a little bit, from my perspective now, the Israelis not in the mood, probably the Palestinians not in the mood, but I think Trump, and I know that his people are interested. The Arab Gulf is going to put some pressure. They would like to see a certain venue toward the peace. And I can tell you this now, when I look at the administration, and Israel itself, as a matter of fact, but especially here, you have two camps. The camp that around Trump, they want stability in the Middle East. They want a peace in the Middle East. The camps that have investment in the Arab Gulf, and a large investment, and I'm not going to go in the people who are there, but also, I think some people, again, in that camp, who really would like to support Israel and are supporting Israel. And mainly Trump now, as we are going to see, now in the near future, we are going to see how he's going to balance the two camps, the Arab Gulf. And here, let me highlight one thing for sure, which is very important. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia really has been keen, has been ready, has been really ready to have a normalization. But if you look now at their statement, and I mentioned it in my lifelong, and in my classes, and in my lecture, including in Washington, D.C., and I look at statement myself, one statement after another, one statement after another. They became very harsh in criticizing Israel. So again, I think that when I speak about peace, I say, listen, the Saudi would like to see the resumption of the two-state solution. And as a matter of fact, Mohammed bin Salman, I don't know why he did that, but he made it really a kind of a point for him, essential for him, for the two-state solution. Now, we'll see what's going to happen, and this is the Trump. The Palestinian, what the Palestinians they are going to do. The Palestinian, I tell you myself now, the intellectual now, already they are moving in one direction. And I see it clearly, as a matter of fact. They are calling, and they are calling. They have been calling little, and now their voices are becoming vocal. They would like to have a binational state. This is what I see it going, as a matter of fact. They are taking Israel into many courts. Now you have certain generals, including in Amsterdam, where you have an organization that is really, kind of trying to push cases against the Israelis and the IDF and others. So I really think that the Palestinians, they are going to use all kinds of international venues to put pressure on Israel. And I think that they are moving in the direction of a binational state. These are the Palestinians. The Palestinian on the ground, I think they are really beset by a terrible, bureaucracy. In Gaza, they have Hamas, terrorists, terrible. And in the West Bank, they have an old guy, and I don't know what he's doing now. And it is mainly the corruption is really so deep there. So Israel is going to be there. And to end my talk, as a matter of fact, until a peace process takes place, and a sound peace process, secure, I think settlement, they are very important for Israel, as they were before independence, as they were after independence. And I thank you. As a matter of fact, I spoke exactly for half an hour. Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Cantor. Thank you.
There will be a quiz following services this evening. I hope you took very good notes. Thank you, Professor. That was the most words I've heard in the shortest amount of time. No. It was good. I got all of it. I was like trying. My brain was trying to play catch up, but that's just me. I'm slow. I'm not the sharpest crayon in the box. Unlike our friends Bob and Dodi. Thank you so much for speaking on what is to be a subject that is further explored as we step into a new era. With a president that is an old president, but a new campaign, we find ourselves in Israel in a very new position. We don't know what will happen in the future. I heard you mention what could happen, what could possibly happen, what may happen. But the reality is that we don't know. And so, which is why we are so gracefully welcoming and wholeheartedly welcoming our scholars who could come and fill us in on the details. Thank you so much. Another round of applause, folks. Thank you. We turn now to our Aleinu, and we open the ark. As we stand and we rise, we turn towards
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teikdu l'yotze b'reishit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam kokenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'kol hamonam, v'anaknu korim, u'mishtakavim u'modim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד Ushemo Echad.
As has become our tradition, I ask you now to please be seated. And the reason we do so is so when I call the name of your loved one aloud, I ask you to rise to be present in their honor. This is not only a way for us to, in fact, embody the Kedusha, embody the grievement that we feel, but also so those around us know that tonight And today that we are honoring someone special in our hearts, as someone special has passed in our lives. Tonight we think of Lisa Siegel, Holly Henshaw. Marilyn Adani is not on our list tonight, but she will be buried on Sunday. We added that the 6 million who perished in the Holocaust and those who were murdered on October 7th, and those who have fought valiantly for our country since in protecting the citizens of Israel. We added that list Hilda Arlen, David Askin, Rose Bell, Rose Bilski, Phyllis Cohen, Pauline Cometer, David Crystal, Saul Dell, Harry Dondershine, Shine, Anna Epstein, Philip Epstein, Laszlo Fisher, Corinne Gordon, Henry Gottfried, Kingston Grodwell, Milton Jacobs, Morton Jaffe, Abraham Clark, Lisa Licht, George Levinson, Jack Leventhal, Martin Lewis, Isabel Margolis, Dizzy Machbach, Charles Mayer, Dennis McNamara. McNamara?
Yeah. Friend.
Norman Moranis, Alan Miller, Sam Mintz, Wolf Nichols, Lawrence Pavlak, Matthew Poland, Jerry Raymond, Kermit Rockmill, Ann Rose, Gertrude Rosenfeld, Sylvan Rothstein, Ann Schick, Mona Seidman, Libby Silver, Isabel Snyder, Dorothy Weinfeld, Norman Weinstein, Charles Wolfe, Richard Wolfe, Leon Zeckman. There are names you'd like to add to this list. Please feel free to do so. It's my hand or my eye meets yours, whichever comes first. I see Carol standing up. Do you have a name? No. Oh, okay. You're just ready to stand up. Am I missing anybody?
I'd like to add something.
Okay.
The name of a soldier who died today in Israel and the West Bank, Liam Hazi. And I just wanted to say something to you. You mentioned my friend's name. I had a friend of mine who was
McNamara. Sorry.
Yep, Dennis McNamara was a police officer killed in the line of duty in 2002 on this date, and I'll never forget him.
We rise in support of our loved ones, in support of those in our community who mourn and remain mourning, either this week or next or the week after. We all have lost someone significant in our lives, and therefore we all have empathy for those around us, for our congregants, for our family, for our friends. We say the Mourners Kaddish together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach l'ortei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zvan kariv v'yimru amin. Yeshmei Rabbah Mavarach v'lam olmei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnasei. V'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah b'reichu. Ve'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiran le'alma v'imru amin. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru amin. Osei shalom v'imromav, hu ya'asei shalom. Aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru amin. Zichronam livracha. May all of their memories be for us as a blessing. You may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm so happy to welcome you all here tonight. And to those watching from home, you are equally welcome. Our technology is a blessing, and I appreciate so much that we have it. I personally am very glad to be here every Friday night, but when I couldn't be here, I was grateful not to feel isolated and excluded. Just as I was grateful to attend our dear friend Marilyn Adani's funeral this afternoon via the internet. It's not quite the same as in person, but a wonderful option for which I'm thankful. Thank you tonight to Rabbi and to Cantor and to Richie for a wonderful service. Thank you to Nick, who's filling in on our cameras in addition to everything else he does for us. Thank you, Dr. Rabbi, for your wonderful talk. And thank you, Dodie and Bob, for bringing Dr. Rabbi to us. Shabbatini was sponsored tonight by John Uri in honor of his birthday. Thank you, John. And thank you, Archie, for the wonderful food and drinks. It was really special. The flowers tonight are sponsored by Agnes Borhegi in memory of her father, Laszlo Fisher, and Rachel Levy, in her words, honoring and in memory of her beautiful mother, Phyllis Cohen. We're also thankful to have our live stream underwritten by the Gersten family and our music underwritten by the Speckler and Lippman families this year. Additional sponsors are still always welcome, always appreciated. If you read Trending last night, then you know our big news is the save the date for Cantor Manny's silver anniversary celebration.
How about that?
A combination of seeing him perform this year with another great talent, Cheryl Ray, and honoring him for his 25 years here with us at Temple Beth El.
Unbelievable. Thanks.
It's Sunday, March 23rd. It starts at 5 p.m., and we hope you all will be joining us. Tomorrow, 9:30, we have Torah study, followed by Shabbat morning service on Zoom. Sunday at 9:30, we have JLC, followed by youth group. At 10, Hebrew 101 with Cantor Manny, and also at 10, sandwich making for Broward Outreach here at the temple. Away from the building, both tomorrow and Sunday, for the third year in a row, Temple Beth El has a table at the South Florida Folk and Acoustic Music Festival at the Bergeron Rodeo Grounds in Davie. It's still not too late. If you'd like to volunteer to come hang out, enjoy the great music, and chat with folks about our wonderful temple. I've met some very nice people. We've gained some new members just by being there in the last couple of years. Talk to me tonight if you're interested. Monday, 7 o'clock, Women's Spirituality Group will be on Zoom. Wednesday at 6, Cantor Manny's class will be on Zoom. Thursday at 10:30, Rabbi will be here if you're interested in Minyan. Next Friday, back to our regular time, 7 o'clock, Shabbat Service will be here and online. Next Saturday at 10, it's the second Saturday of the month. That means Shabbat stock. Remember, it's family and pet friendly. We have a coffee truck and good nosh to eat. And remember that the rain doesn't stop us. We just move inside and have the same wonderful morning service. A few save the dates. Wednesday, February 12th, a docent-led tour with our own Marcia Bell of the Anne Frank exhibition at the Holocaust Documentation and Education Center in Dania Beach. Remember, please, to RSVP and purchase your tickets in advance by using the link in Trending. Friday, February 14th, a special Debbie Friedman Shabbat service, honoring her by focusing on her music that night for our prayers. Saturday, February 22nd at 7, another performance in our Songs in the Chapel series. A wonderful duo, Verano. Tickets are available in advance with a discount for temple members as always. Sunday, February 23rd, 10 a.m. for our next brunch bunch, we have Marjan Kippur Greenblatt, an internationally recognized expert and activist whose subject will be making sense of the unrest in Iran. This will be another must-not-miss program. Friday, February 28th, Family Shabbat at 5:30, followed by dinner at 6, with reserved tables for adults without children. and our regular Shabbat service at 7. Please RSVP using the link in trending. Also in February, the whole month, so that means starting tomorrow, we're having a fundraiser. Eat in at Antonio's Pizza on Hollywood Boulevard and have 20% of your bill donated back to Temple Bethel. Take a flyer tonight from the sideboard, keep it with you, or just take a photo of it, keep it in your phone. Go one time or go as many times as you like during the month. Each time you'll have a wonderful meal and you'll be supporting Temple Bethel. One last thing. You can scroll down in trending still to Tikkun Olam, where we have a link that takes us directly to Jewish Federation of Los Angeles' Wildfire Crisis Relief Fund. Jewish Federation, wherever there is a need across the country, always makes it possible for Jews everywhere to be able to fulfill our obligation to help repair the world. If you haven't yet, please go to trending and look at it and donate. Kiddush and Hamotzi will be in the rotunda. As you leave the sanctuary, please help yourself to wine and challah out there, and then join Rabbi Aaron and Cantor Manny for the blessings. The gift shop doesn't look like it's open, but I bet if you have a special request, you'll get it granted. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
Believe it or not, she left out one thing. 5 weeks from tonight, Gospel Shabbat. Mark it down. March 7th. Yeah, March 7th, Gospel Shabbat. Be here. If you can.
Things.
All right, we're going to close with Eveinu Shalom Alechem. We bring peace to you. We want peace for everybody.
Let's move, folks.
Eveinu Shalom Alechem. Eveinu Shalom Alechem. Eveinu Shalom Alechem. Eveinu Shalom. Shalom Aleichem, Eveinu Shalom. Hi guys. Eveinu Shalom Aleichem, Eveinu Shalom Aleichem, Eveinu Shalom. Eveinu Shalom Aleichem, Eveinu Shalom Aleichem, Eveinu Shalom. Shalom. Mike is great. Alechem Eveinu Shalom Alechem. Shalom Alechem. Eveinu Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Eveinu. We give thanks